Hey guys, this is Navonod, playing NL20. Bovada glitched out and I closed my tables down. I had to close out, pop back in. I was down to like 1300 before I played a hand, so that was fun. But we've had a little run good to get back to normal, so here we are basically starting a $20 HUSnG. Don't know too much about Villain because most of the money he took from me I was not at the table. No use crying over spilt milk. He seems to be playing, I mean, he's obviously open raising most of his buttons, but not all of them, and he's 3-betting some, but he's not 3-betting maniacally, so he seems kind of standard-ish right now. So my first read would be, he's likely to be a pretty thinking player. He's going to take logical lines. I'm expect. Oh hell! He must have a 6 or an ace. I was expecting to get called there, or maybe even raised if my opponent had a 5 for a worse full house. In fact, that might have been a spot where I should have sized my bet bigger, thinking that Villain's probably going to be relatively inelastic. He's either going to call or he's not going to call, almost regardless of what I bet. You know, moreover, or close to that. This looks like a decent flop to just go ahead and try to float. See if I can find a bluff on the river when he checks back the turn. Okay, we're gonna have to abort mission. Okay, so he may be barreling a lot. I haven't been calling too many of his C-bets. And when he's checked back, we bet the turn and he called. But then we bet the river and he folded. So he's probably checking back like showdown value. That's a flop that kind of makes sense for him to donk, I guess. But only kind of. We're in position, got a gut shot, we're pretty deep. Got an overcard, I'm going to peel it. Okay, there's the overcard. So we can at least call once more. It's a pretty bad card. And that's going to do it. That's a really weird flop for him to donk. So he donked there. Kinda odd. Donked there on my flop. Pretty standard call here. Nothing much to play with on the flop. Okay, Not seeming quite as decent as I thought he might be initially. Call him in raise, 3-bet, and just kind of proceed with caution. Well, it's basically, we don't flop anything, then we don't want to mess around too much, especially on a pretty scary board texture. King 9 offsuit, probably just a call. Maybe King 10 could be a 3-bet. Probably a little too weak to open that. 10-3 off is probably a little too weak to defend. Although now that I see his playing skill might not be what I thought it was, I will be defending a little bit lighter than I originally planned to. A7 suitable flat. There's a lot of good things that can happen on turns, so I think we will peel this one, and I'm going to expect that he's going to c-bet a lot here. And I don't think, the only thing, he's not going to fold a jack. He's not going to call with queen high, I wouldn't think, so I guess we just check and hope he checks back, but if he bets, we might have to call. He definitely could have a jack, right? We've seen him bluff. So we know he is capable of bluffing. And the 2 times I think now that we've caught him bluffing, it's been taking check bet lines. Or, yeah, where he bets and I call the flop. Turn goes check, check, and then I check the river. He's going to bluff that, it seems. He's having a hard time stopping himself from bluffing that. The other time he definitely bluffed was when he let a flop, his pre-flop caller. But we just don't have to continue calling once the second barrel comes. A little nitty. Jack 5 suited I definitely call. Jack 6 offsuit I defend. So I guess that was the bottom of my, or the top of my folding range. Wasn't really sure what to expect there. Figured he certainly could have air or something like a busted draw. Now we're not going anywhere until at least the turn. Yeah, he doesn't like to stop, so basically we can plan on him barreling a lot of turns. So far, I think he's barreled just about every turn. If he c-bet and was called, I think he bet all turns. So I'm not even going to consider check raising here, because I just expect that he's going to barrel a lot of turns. That figures. And so far he's always bluffed in this spot, so let's give him a chance to do it again. And of course this time that's not what happened. So because he just saw me take that line in, because I saw him not do what I expected him to do that prompted that line, I'm going to make an adjustment. And he didn't really have much showdown value, so it may really just be that he's sick of being bluff caught. Seems a little tight pre-flop. Still king with his opens and against opens. I still think king jack suited is good enough to 3-bet. It's not. I'm not just gonna flat with it until I really, really feel like I need to polarize my 3-bet range. I'm not convinced that I shouldn't, but definitely as a pure default, we want to have a linear 3-bet range heads up, because we expect to get called a lot. Now, if he's not calling my 3-bets, if he's either going to fold mostly or sometimes 4-bet, then that's a real good time to polarize your 3-bet range. You don't want to waste hands like king 10 suited and king jack as 3-bets that never get called by worse. And you don't want to waste hands that are perfectly good 3-bet bluffs as folds. You don't want to waste them by folding. This would have been a flop I could have actually led. Probably hits my range harder than it hits his. Just gonna see if I can get this king high to show down. It would be abnormal from this opponent to not at least stab once, but I think I can call once with the king high and just see if we can get her. Hell. Get that king high to show down. I expect he's going to make more betting mistakes than calling mistakes on this entire run out, but at this point I'm actually hoping. Okay, so that he bets, but I don't know. Yeah, I should have bet myself. Yeah, if I'm just going to call anyway, I probably should have just bet myself. It wouldn't have mattered. He did put the bet in. It was a chop, so for all those results-oriented type reasons, it really didn't matter. But I wasn't looking for a check raise. I wasn't going to check fold. And, yeah, betting just seems like it would have made a little bit more sense there. Although, again, it's close. I mean, it's definitely close. Even though I do expect him to c-bet this flop a ton, two things are weighing me towards folding. Number one, my hand is so unlikely to improve. And number two, even if he's behind, he can't be behind by too much. He could be the favorite even if behind. And also we'll just have a lot better hands to defend on this flop. Like any two hearts, straight draws, pairs that aren't pocket fives. So he's done this with a lot of air, and we actually do have a reasonable hand. Now I want to pot control and hope to bink the river, but if not, I think it's fine to just try to get this to showdown. I doubt that I missed a value bet. So he is donking a pretty weak range, it seems. He's donked showdown value, and he's donked just air. We haven't seen him donk anything really strong yet. And he is folding to all of my 3-bets so far. So I think it's time to polarize our 3-bet range and start attacking his donk leads. The one or two times he has checked back, it seems like it was with showdown value. So we're also going to start taking a crack at folding him off on turns when he, well, right here is a perfect opportunity to test the theory. Got a big pot size bet. Most likely he's checking back with either air or showdown value that might be able to call 1 bet, but will rarely be calling 2 bets. So when he checks back flops, we're going to take to double barreling turn rivers. And of course in that instance where I did have the flush draw, I had a nut flush draw, so tons of equity, and pretty hard for him to rep the flush himself when he checks back the flop. So that was, just an automatically good spot to lead the turn. But I think this opponent is a good opponent to lead the turn against. him specifically, and that was a really good spot for it. So it seemed like a slam dunk turn lead. Okay, and I'm going to turn up the heat with 3 bets, but again, polarized, meaning I'm going to use the bottom of my calling range / top of my folding range to 3 bet, and just my really big value hands to 3 bet. I'm going to flat call the stuff in between. The just relatively strong, reasonably strong hands like pocket 6s, pocket 7s. Okay, now this is a spot where I feel like I can get a lot of folds by betting the turn. But I don't think he's going to fold anything better than my 6s. So in this particular instance, I think I'm pretty fine just trying to get this to showdown and beating his king high or pocket 3s type hand that I would imagine he's got. Let's see if we can verify this read. Hold still a universe. Yeah, he had exactly king high. Okay, so pretty good confirmation that he's checking back his showdown value on the flop. Ace-6 suited. If I was using a very linear 3-bet range, I would include this, but because we're polarizing, I think the hand is too strong to 3-bet as a bluff and not quite strong enough to 3-bet for value. Falls pretty solidly in the middle. That's just a really bad flop for Ace-X of hearts. Come on, 3-bet. We'll take a flat. Okay, I'm going to make exactly a half-pot stab on the quintessential dry C, but man, I would think if he's got any play in him at all, the Queen-7 deuce board would be the one he'd want to make a move at. So I was trying to give him some incentive to do just that by making a very C-bet bluffy-looking 50% pot-sized wager. So 10-4 offsuit's probably still just a little bit weak even for the light part of my light 3-bet range. Something like a 9-5, especially suited, would be a better contender. And since it's been a little while since I've 3-bet, hands like King-3 offsuit probably is going to play better as a 3-bet also. He's been a little tight with his opens. He's been very tight. And yeah, okay, so if he's playing this 4-bet or fold game, we definitely want to have a polarized 3-bet range. It turns basically his 4-bets are going to almost always be mistakes if we're 3-betting a polarized range. Because we're either going to have like something very nutted value that he doesn't want to 3-bet, or I'm sorry, he doesn't want to 4-bet into, or we're going to have a bluff, in which case he's wasting whatever hand he's deciding to use. 9-2 offsuit might be just a little janky. He's folding a lot, but I think it's okay sometimes, even when in a vacuum, it's plus EV to get a fold out of him, and we have enough fold equity to go for it. It still may be better off to try to kind of preserve future fold equity. I feel like people fold more often to very specific bets, and they may not go for it a bunch of times, but it's been my experience that if you really want to get a fold, if you just tamper around with that bet sizing a little bit, you can get more than your fair share. Now, I'd like to keep this guy on the line, so I'm just going to make a little compliment here. You play pretty good, sir or ma'am. Hit the fold button. This is Navonod. I'm recording for Navonod on NLH if you want to see this match. Pretty easy open here. From my perspective, go to YouTube and look for Navonod on So both by giving him a compliment and offering him this opportunity to, and it's a legitimate opportunity to look at my perspective. This is probably a Nash shove. I think. Yeah, I think I don't see any reason not. Yeah. We're gonna open a limping range. It's a pretty good flop considering I don't really have anything. Maybe kind of time banking and then limping looked strong. Not something I'd expect him to let me get away with a ton, but what I don't want to do with these effective stacks is like min raise and then with a hand that I don't really want to stack, because then when he shoves I'm in a precarious spot. Here we could min raise to induce, but probably our EV is just a little bit better. Let's see. If we just rip it, I bet ya. It's a hand that doesn't induce that well. I mean, it induces okay, but a lot of the hands that we induce, we're not going to want to induce, like pocket pairs, like pocket twos, and even just two live cards. It may be better with the stack depth just to fold those out. I think I've got a call here. I'm not excited about it, but he's shoving probably something close to Nash. This is clearly a Nash call, you know. I mean, definitely it's a vacuum call. And we get it in with slightly the best of it, and we hold. So I will accept, and he will decline. Alright, well, until next time, guys, Navonod on No Limit Hold'em. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe learned a little something.